Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Breeders' Cup Prep Recap, and we're going to take a look back at the Grade 1 Natalma Stakes for 2-year-old fillies going a one-turn mile at Woodbine, part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. This is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Mark Casse had about 8 horses in this race. And as we break from the gate, he's going to run 1, 2, 3 with And One More Time breaking from post position 6, Vixen from 9, Nitrogen from 3, and the pace held up.
Yeah, that's the thing you want to take note of right here, Dan, in the first, 100 yards of this race. The horses that are 1, 2, 3 right now, they're going to complete the trifecta in this race. They're going to stay up close throughout. They're going to hold on through the stretch, and really nobody makes a meaningful run from behind them in here.
There was a heavy favorite in this race, not surprisingly, considering the success that Godolphin and Charlie Appleby have had at Woodbine over the years. Mountain Breeze, who broke from post position 11, went off at 4 to 5. He's in the Godolphin blue. He's sitting wide out of the back of the pack, and maybe this setup didn't work for him, but he didn't really fire either.
Yeah, no, this is not a good performance for Mountain Breeze. She did rate and sit on the outside the entire way in here. It was a pretty confident ride, I would say, from William Buick. And she just never, I realize this isn't much of a setup for her, but she never really fires any kind of a shot here, Dan. I mean, she's going to move up and get a look at this thing as this field comes to the top of the stretch, but she never really kicks it into high gear in this race and is never a threat from the quarter pole to the wire.
Right here, you're asking which Casse, which of the 3 horses that have been contesting the pace are going to get the job done. On the outside, it's And One More Time, trying turf for the first time. You've got Vixen in between horses. Nitrogen's been on the lead, and there really isn't anybody coming from the back. So the 3 Casses put on a nice show the final 16th of a mile, and it's And One More Time at 16 to 1 getting there.
Yeah, she was very game in this race. These 3 horses, again, they had the 3 best trips in the race. They threw it down through the final 3/16 of a mile. And I don't feel like any one of them you could look at and say they had any kind of an excuse here. It just feels like the horse who was best got the job done. Vixen had every chance to win, ran a pretty nice race here, couldn't get by, second best.
Couldn't make an excuse for a horse like Anascal, Mike, who took some money in here. Frankie Dettori had her in a very good spot. She was in the pocket just off of the pace turning for home, and the finish was not there.
Got a really good trip and ride in this race. And you're right, just sort of stayed even through the stretch. She was in a really good spot as that field passed the quarter pole and just didn't really kick in that hard. The flip side of that, Dan, is that she had enough working against her in here to not want to be too hard on her. One start at Saratoga against Statebreds where she's on the lead going 5.5 furlongs. And now her second start is stretching out to a mile in a Grade 1.
Italian Soiree acquitted herself quite fine in her turf debut. No excuses with the trip. Rispoli had her in a very good spot, got her forwardly placed sitting in the second flight, and she just sort of finished the 1, 2, 3, 4 around the track angle. She ran well, and it's something that John Terranova could take heart of because it was asking a lot against this field, shipping up to Woodbine for a turf debut.
Yeah, also another horse stretching out for the first time as well. But you're right. I mean, all in all, this was, a horse who had plenty of turf pedigree too, Dan. Set a decent trip in here, was within range of these top 3 finishers at the top of the stretch, and just sort of finished that one pace in here and could never make up any ground.
Did you see any trips in this race that might want to make you play one of these horses back down the road? Ready for Battle was really the only closer to make any kind of impact at the end. This horse was 68 to 1 and got up to finish 5th.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw any trips in this race. I mean, I guess it could be fair to just look at this race and say, pace made the entire thing here. And if you were too far back off of it, you really didn't have any chance. And I'll be a little bit lenient on some of these horses when they run back. I don't know, man. It's not like they, I know it held together, but it's not like they were walking up front. I just feel like the horses from behind didn't run that well. The horse that I wanted to try to make an excuse for was one of the Casse horses, Will Rain, who I just thought was going to, be more effective with a little more distance to work with. And I don't know about you, I didn't really see any trouble as far as her trip went. She's another one who just didn't kick hard through the stretch.
But maybe she's one of those late closers that just needs a little bit of pace and race luck, or a lot of it at this point in your career. Like you, I was a little bit disappointed at a price. Let's take a closer look at And One More Time. Casse Live Oak. They win the Woodbine Mile. They win in the Natalma. She's by Omaha Beach, a $750,000 yearling. And while she was trying turf for the first time in this race, she certainly had the pedigree for it. A half to a graded stakes winning turf runner, another stakes winning turf runner, and a grade 2 stakes winning dirt runner, Honor D Lady, who also happens to be a stakes winner on the turf. This is the female family of inside information, Mike, your favorite horse of all time, because the third dam is Educated Risk, Inside Info's half sister.
Yeah, there's the great thing about And One More Time. The pedigree's really versatile. She's already won on dirt. Now she's won a grade 1 race in Canada on the turf. The Cassie's going to have a lot of options with her, Dan, now to run her on either surface and just see what happens. She's already, she's bred to go on from here as well to get even longer distances on either surface. I mean, this is a quality win for her, and there were just so many options now for And One More Time. It'll be interesting to see what Cassie does with her next.
She earned a 79 Beyer speed figure for this victory, and Mark obviously had a lot of faith in her, stretching her all the way out from 5.5 furlongs to a mile and racing her on turf for the first time in a grade 1. Let's take a look at the prices. It was all Cassie, all the time, and then One More Time paid $35.40. Vixen was a game second. Nitrogen ran third, and One More Time gets it done in the Natalma. It's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. But as Mike mentioned, she's got some dirt pedigree. Maybe we see her in the dirt race?